What's up? So I'm quarantined. I live in Spain, so the whole country's quarantined, not just me. But anyways, since I have literally nothing to do, I just moved into a new apartment right before this all happened, and I don't have access to my PS4 because the TV is like really old, and I didn't get a PC in time, unfortunately. So I'm pretty bored now. So I'm gonna bring back the channel. For those of you who have never watched me before, I did some small like videos back in the day. You know, a lot of deck profiles, doing book live, things like that. And now I'm bringing it all back. So today I'm actually gonna do a different kind of video that I've never done before, but I don't know, it's something that I want to do, and I'm going to try it out, see, have a little fun with it. I did a little research, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So basically, I'm going to be tackling a versus battle, similar to Swag Kage. If you've ever watched him, he's a Naruto YouTuber. There's a lot of, obviously, Naruto versus battles. I don't see a lot of Yugioh versus battles. I did watch like one not too long ago that was like animated kind of, which was really good. But I don't have all that skill and that time or the resources to do that. But I am going to do an interesting versus battle, in my opinion. I'm going to tackle one of the funnest matchups that I could imagine. And it's two of very greatly loved characters. One of them is my favorite character of all Yu-Gi-Oh series, which would be Zane Truesdale. The other is Kaiba. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go into these characters and explain a little bit about each one of them and give my opinion. For Kaiba, I'm going to give three different scenarios. The first being OG anime without Obelisk. Like, not OG, but like at the end of the anime, no, without Obelisk. Then I'm going to add with Obelisk, and then I'm going to do Dark Side of Dimensions, where he has alternate to Blue Eyes White Dragon. For Zane, I'm just going to do Hellkaiser Zane. The thing is, even though it is true that Schoolboy Zane, you know, back when he was in Duel Academy, he was a really skilled duelist, and he did have still the cards to make really powerful monsters that could that Kaiba could have a difficult time facing. And even though I can't come up with too many ways for Kaiba to out these super high attack point monsters, I just can't in good faith even try to argue that School Zane, Duel Academy Zane, was anywhere near as good as Kaiba, because it's Kaiba. Like, he's the second best duelist of all time in Pegasus list and in many others lists. And he is the founder of Duel Academy. So I just can't say that Zane, as a student, was good enough to take on Kaiba. He may have been good enough to give him a good match, that's for sure. Kaiba would have definitely had to bust out everything he had, but I don't think Zane could have taken it. I don't know how Kaiba would have won exactly, but I just can't say that Zane's skill level at that point was rivaling Kaiba's. However, Hellkaiser Zane is a completely different story. That is one that I'm going to argue in this video. And the thing is, Hellkaiser Zane, what people don't understand is he didn't just change his deck. He became much, much better. After losing against Aster Phoenix, he had to do a limit break, basically, to get through and become a better duelist and get over his loss and whatever that effect that Aster has on people when he beats them was. And he started dueling in a way that was much more aggressive, even for him as a aggro style duelist. But he obviously started caring about what it took to win. He would just do anything to win, which, even though people may not like, it's an added advantage, because now he's not going to stop himself and limit himself by doing ugly plays, disrespectful plays, or plays that would involve hurting his cards, even if it means losing the duel. No, he will do whatever it takes to win, the same way he sacrifices Cyber End to finish the game against Chancellor Shepard. So he is a much better duelist than he was back then. So I'm going to go ahead and go into each one of them and explain how they're similar, which they're very similar because they're both very aggressive players. They both have a beat stick beat down deck. And I'm going to go ahead and basically go over each one. So Kaiba, we'll start off with the decks. Kaiba obviously has Blue Eyes in his arsenal, the ability to summon multiple Blue Eyes, go into Blue Eyes. Ultimate Dragon, which is a 4,500 attack point monster, which is bigger than the Blue Eyes not the Blue Eyes than the Cyber End Dragon. And then he also has managed to use the XYZ monsters, the fusions and things like that. And he's had other big monsters throughout the game. He also is known for using Spellbound Circle and then the Ring of Destruction's Ring of Defense combo and things like that. Zane, on the other hand, he's a little more faster pace, in my opinion, because Kaiba typically sets up with maybe like a medium attack monster, like a high attack monster, like a level 4, like a Worst Raider, or there was a level 5 monster, I can't remember what it was called, that he would summon, and then he would like set up a defense, start the game rolling, and then next turn probably punch in with a Blue Eyes, and then if you out the Blue Eyes, he'll come back and somehow get another one, or he'll even go Blue Eyes Ultimate. You know, he progressively gets those bigger monsters. Zane has the ability to push out those bigger monsters like it's nothing, to be honest. That doesn't mean that Kaiba's at a huge disadvantage, but I do question a little bit how Kaiba is going to deal with these big attack point monsters that are bigger than his, because he's used to having the bigger attack point monster usually. Zane, on the other hand, as we know, has Cyber End Dragon, Cyber Dragon, which isn't that powerful, but Cyber End Dragon is pretty strong, and has Cyber Twin, which can attack twice. And he can power these up through multiple manners, such as Power Bonds, Limiter Removal, and a Cybernetic spell card that was the one he used against Yugioh, things like that. So he can reach insanely high attack points. And he's very strategic. He never goes in without a plan. He doesn't risk using Power Bond if he knows it's not going to win the game, or if he doesn't have a way to actually dodge the burn. And he always thinks of his opponent's face downs and things like that. He doesn't come in recklessly, which is why, well, actually, I'll get to that later on. So another thing we're going to talk about is their win and loss ratio. So even though they're great players, their win and loss ratio is something that I don't think is a great way to use to measure their skill level. Because Kaiba was constantly pit against Yuki, and Zane had that streak where he lost a lot of duels, but that was mainly because he was altered in his mind, like he wasn't in a good state after losing to Aster. But let's actually go into it a little bit. So Kaiba plays in the first arc, in the arc of Duelist Kingdom, he duels 5 times, which he wins 3, loses 2. However, we're going to do a little bit of editing to these wins and loss ratios, because in my book, maybe not in yours, but in my book, a win is only a win if you actually earned it. So if you were supposed to have lost that duel, like it was obvious that you were supposed to lose that duel, or it was obvious you're supposed to win that duel, it's going to count as a win for me. I'm sorry. But those 2 main examples I'm referring to is Kaiba threatening to jump off the building or to have the attack send them off, whatever, and Zane dying against Yugioh. So those are gonna be changed. And in that arc is when he threatened to jump off a building. So that's really 3 losses, 2 wins. Then he plays against. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. One of those losses was obviously against Yugi, but another one was against Pegasus, the antagonist of the series, which he lost against, and not because he was had anything held against him or anything. He just lost, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, which isn't a bad thing. Pegasus was the creator of Duel Monsters, and he did have a Millennium item. So there are several factors in that, but we do have to take into consideration he actually lost to this antagonist. Then he beats a cyber version of himself, and then goes on to Battle City, where he has a really good record. 7 games, 6 wins, 1 loss. If you've ever been to an actual Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, that's a pretty decent record that would get you a top at a tournament. And the only loss is against Yugi, and then he beats Joey, which is a really good player. Obviously, Kaiba's always been better, but still, it's a noteworthy win. Then, in the Waking the Dragons arc, he draws against Alistair, beats Alistair, and then wins apostrophes, like air commas, air quotes, whatever, against darts with Yugi, but really he was eliminated in that duel. Now, you got to also factor in that I think he did, set Yugi up for the win, if I remember correctly. So take it as you will. Then he beat Sigmund Freud, which was actually, in my opinion, his best exhibit of skill. I remember that duel very vividly, where he used Card of the Eyes, and then used some other effect to get his card in the Vanish Zone, and then used the Trap card to bring them all back. And it just showed how he thought 2 steps ahead, placed his cards where they needed to be, and then how aggressive his deck can actually be. Now let's go into Zane's wins and losses. Excuse me. So one thing that Zane has against Kaiba is he's never lost to the main character. He actually beat the main character in the first game, which is obviously Jaden, as you know, and then went on to draw against him. And then there's another duel in Season 4, I believe, that I haven't watched completely because it's not dubbed. And it's hard to find, even in sub. I was watching it a bit ago, but the source that I was watching it kind of went down. But from what I saw on the records, it says undecided. He then duels against Camila, my bad. And he loses, but he loses because he had a game and Cyrus was helped. Sorry, to me that's a win. Then he actually loses against Aster. This was his first legitimate loss. It even says it in the wiki. This was the first time he actually lost. Aster at the time was in Pegasus' list the 4th best player he had met. So this is a really noteworthy thing that I'm going to talk about. Pegasus' list is Yugi as the 1st, Kaiba as the 2nd, Joey as the 3rd, Aster as the 4th, and then Jesse Anderson as the 5th. After the loss against Aster, his mind thing messed Zane up, and he ended up going on a loss streak. But once he recovered, it became Kaiser Zane. He recovered it with a win streak. He also had a win streak before losing to Aster. He was on a 9 or 10 win streak, and then he becomes noteworthy better. Here's the thing: Aster, after his season, didn't really do much. He appeared a few times, but he didn't really get any better. Whereas Zane got much better, significantly better actually. Zane played against Aster Phoenix and beat him. Aster Phoenix was one of the main antagonists, and I'm sure, not Aster, that was my bad. Atticus. He played against Atticus Rhodes, and Atticus Rhodes used a Necrophase, and he still beat him. And that was one of the main antagonists in one of the first seasons. I'm sure Aster would have beat him too, but it's still a really noteworthy win. And then especially the most noteworthy win was Yugioh. Now I know he lost against Yugioh, but he lost because as he was declaring the attack, he died. This is the same thing that happened to Joey and Do are both wins in my book. It's not fair that he died. I don't understand how when you declare the attack, if you die, suddenly everything just goes away. No, you declare the attack, you won. And naturally, tabletop, you would have won. So Zane wins that, and that's an insane exhibition of skill. He beat Yugioh, pretty much the strongest character in the anime except for Darkness. And I think Jaden had a easier time with Darkness than he even did with Yugioh. But it's still very noteworthy win, and it shows that he, time and time again, has been pretty much able to beat the antagonist, beat someone who was an antagonist in the past. And he also dueled against Jesse Anderson and was the fifth in that list. And they didn't finish the duel, but it was showing like it was going to be Zane's game, in my opinion. So, from there on, we've already given the wins and losses. If we go on straight up numbers, Zane's the worst. But honestly, if we go on the importance of each win, I'd say that Zane's was better. However, we can't say that that Yugioh was better than Darts or better than Yugi, because they weren't. Well, I don't know about Darts, but Kaiba, you could argue that Kaiba has faced stronger opponents, is what I'm trying to get at. So, how would the duel actually go down? When researching this, I found somebody who said that Kaiba would overwhelm him, and if Zane tried to summon a stronger monster, he would get hit with the ring combo, ring of defense and ring of destruction, ring of defense, and it would be GG. And honestly, what? You can't actually think Zane would lose to that, right? Chaz did that maneuver, Here's the thing. Okay, going into the duel, they would have knowledge on each other. Kaiba would have some knowledge from his pro duels and his duel records if he's seen them from when he was in the academy. And Zane would literally know everything about Kaiba, being that he studied Kaiba. He's the second best duelist of all time, and he was, excuse me, and he was the founder of the academy. You think his strategies aren't in the records? Like, you don't think he knows this stuff? Of course he knows this stuff. How do you think Chaz knew to use the ring combo? Zane knows this combo and will not fall for it, especially not just because he knows it, but because he never falls for that kind of stuff. He's been hit by a spellbinding circle off a power bond, and he'll always have the diffusion, things like that. He always takes a look at his opponent's fields and determines what the threats are. He wouldn't go in there so blindly like that. He wouldn't throw a high attack position monster and not have something to switch it out with. Like, he has options to switch it out with too. He could use diffusion. He could use the spell card that banishes it and then it comes back stronger the next turn. Like, he has so many options to do with his monsters to get them out of the way of this combo. Like, this combo is not gonna finish him off. It might be played and it might be dodged. Honestly, I can easily see Kaiba starting off the duel with like a Force Raider in that combo set. Zane going in for a powerful play, maybe a twin Cyber Dragon or even a Cyber End if he has the ability to do so. And then, but probably a twin just to hold back resources. That combo being played, a diffusion being used. And then from there on out, Blue Eyes coming out on the field, dealing damage, leading up to probably Zane getting ahead in life points and Kaiba using that to make the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and use Megamorph at 9,000. Zane could probably switch out with the Cyber Shield Dragon to guard that, and then Zane would be able to use Power Bond to make a bigger monster, and then from there, it really just depends. So if Kaiba has Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon, he can out those monsters with the effect. If he has Obelisk, he can out those monsters with the effect. But without either of those two options, I don't see him outing that. And aside from that, Zane is at a pretty high skill level, in my opinion, just as good, if not slightly better than Kaiba, because it's argued that Jaden becomes better than Yugi, and I don't think that Jaden is better than Zane. Maybe a little bit, but I don't think it's like a far margin. So it's not a crazy story to say Zane is better than Kaiba. You can't 100% say it, but based on their skill level, they're pretty close. And the fact is, both of their strategy is aggro beatdown, and his decks aren't designed to deal with stronger monsters, because usually his monsters are the strongest. So we've never seen Kaiba play a lot of removal, play things like that. And even if he does, Zane always has another thing. So I honestly think Kaiba, without Obelisk and without Alternative, is taking the L here. High difficulty, probably 6 out of 10 times. He might win the other 4, because we all know Yugioh just isn't a 100% thing. With Alternative and with Obelisk together, now that's like a 50%, maybe even 60% chance in Kaiba's favor. He now has Obelisk as God. He has the ability to destroy all of those monsters. And if you want to BS it and use that one time he made Obelisk as Attack Infinity, then Zane doesn't have any way of making a monster that stronger, but he does have some outs to it, so we'd have to see. But yeah, Dark Side of Dimension, Kaiba, with those cards, might be able to take it home, probably. I'd like to say Zane should win, but I'm going to give it to the Kaiba fans in this one. And then Kaiba with just Obelisk, I'm going to do it 50-50 there. I'm going to call it a draw. Not going to say either or, because honestly, it could go either way. I'm leaning in Zane's favor for this one, though. And then, just in case y'all want to do a round with full Cyber support, full Blue Eye support, just know that Zane is taking it home like low difficulty. The Cyber support is much better than the Blue Eye support. But that's not in the anime, so that's not really up to debate. But that was just a bonus round to add on. But yeah, no, Zane would definitely take it home with full support. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. If you agree, disagree. If you think that Kaiba is a lot better than Zane and would still win, regardless of the fact that his deck does have a slightly disadvantage because it's designed to beat down, and these are bigger beaters. or if you think that I'm right. But whatever it is, like and comment, tell me what your opinion is, and let me know if you guys like these kind of videos. I might make more.